do every second Saturday of the month, and it's done so much for all of us that are in attendance because we're able to open up and be open and honest in a way that guys are safe speaking, because a lot of times there's spaces out there that we can, but we don't really feel comfortable. And so we talk about everything. We let it all out, it's no holds bar. Language, we're free, we want people to be safe. And so if I put extra barriers on your ability to just open up and express yourself, it's going to make you less likely to want to. And so we just say, hey man, show up, let's have some breakfast, let's fellowship, and just really kind of be vulnerable, for a couple of hours, and most of the time within that couple of hours, most of us walk out and we're like, okay, we can take a deep breath and just, keep moving through and doing what we do every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Andrew, same question to you in terms of your participation in today's festivities and your perspective. I'm sorry, did we lose some sound?
Give us a recap for the.
Okay. And so if you are just tuning in, I want to make sure we understand we have Andrew Boykin and Loren Jones on the phone and in studio with us and talking about an event that took place this morning, Elevating Men at Oasis Church in Raytown. And as someone from Generation X, when we're talking about mental health and having these sorts of conversations, this wasn't something that could say it was openly frowned upon. And so it's like going through the process of deprogramming a generation while you're attempting to program that next generation. And so as you guys began this endeavor of creating these spaces, what are some of the challenges that you may have faced initially?
I think the biggest challenge is just getting men to open up. I think that's the biggest challenge, There's still just that mentality that's still out there that says, if I show my vulnerabilities, then I'm weak. Mm-hmm. And as men, we're not supposed to show weakness. We're always supposed to show that we're these strong guys that, can move mountains at all times. And so that's always the biggest roadblock. What's interesting is since we have this unique opportunity, the doors never close. Like people always want us to come and, do what we do in different spaces. And so that's the cool thing about it. And so it's just, okay, as we go to these different spaces, how do we continue to create this atmosphere like we do in our normal spaces where we can get men to open up and express themselves? And what we've learned is that it just really takes one vulnerable guy.
Right.
Just one.
Mm-hmm.
And once one opens up, then somebody else is going to be like, oh, okay, all right, if he can do it, I can do it. It's almost like reverse psychology when you're talking about competition.
Yes.
Right? And so once one opens up, then everybody starts to open up. And one thing that I've recognized about guys is that once we do open up, like we're open.
Yeah, the floodgates.
We don't stop at that point because it's like if you gave me the floor, I'm getting ready to let it all out. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a good thing though.
Yes.
You learn to, maybe channel your story a little bit, especially when you're in larger groups where everybody is supposed to get an opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. But I love it because once a man opens up and expresses his pain, the power after that is really where you see the results, right? He goes home and his kid's like, Dad, where did you go?
Right.
You know, because he comes home and he's a little bit softer, you know? So, oh, okay. And what it does to the next generation is we're showing them now that it's okay so that they don't really go through their young adult lives up to, you know, manhood just walking around with their lip poked out and their chest poked out because, hey man, I can't talk. No, they showed me it's okay. So, you know, we're providing that blueprint for them as well.
Right, absolutely. And so, Andrew, you know, you've spent years, what did you say, analyzing, listening and analyzing communication patterns. And so when we talk about just the ability to communicate and how so many of us take that for granted, and what it's like to be able to break down those barriers. Talk to us, you know, what you've learned through your years of study.
It's not gonna bring it in. No.
Right. Right, absolutely, absolutely. And so, for you, Loren, talk to us about, you know, kind of your journey, starting off as a young father and having to mature rather quickly. I like to talk about, you know, the realization that you need some help, and then the ability for you at a young age to either, you know I need to get some help and reach out for it, or what was that like for you?
Yeah, you know, so, you know, I had my first kid when I was 16 years old. And so I guess, again, right, we're supposed to be tough men. So I kind of just, it's kind of that fake it till you make it, right? You know, and what I was able to do was say, okay, I didn't have my father in my life. So what did I want from my father that I didn't get? Like, that's really how I kind of started off was, you know, I didn't care. I know when I was a kid, I didn't care about, you know, my dad buying me new J's or anything like that. I just wanted them to play catch or, you know, come to my basketball game or something like that. Like, that's what it was about. And so I was like, I just want to make sure that I am a presence in my daughter's life, you know. And then I did recognize I needed help. And so I started observing other men that had kids, you know, asking questions. I guess the internet was really kind of a budding thing, but, you know, it was still more, you know, reading books and things like that. Just kind of trying to get some little tips. And, you know, my godfather, you know, he was a great resource, you know, as an example of what to do. Right, and kind of I watched how he navigated with his boys, and I was like, okay, you know, I can figure this out. But I always, even to this day, the simplicity in understanding that your kids want your presence, not your presence, is so important because they don't care about all the material stuff like we think they do. Now, they don't want to be going around looking like bums and stuff like that. We understand that, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, those memories matter. You know, man, I remember my dad, my mom, they showed up to every single game. You know, they didn't miss a single game. Or I remember that time that they came to my school function. All these different things that happen that are more important than we truly realize. And so I always keep that as kind of my foundation.
Right.
Is don't focus on the material, but focus on the memories that are going to have a long lasting impression. Be an example for them, because our kids watch us like hawks.
Absolutely.
Like hawks. It's sometimes I'd be like, look the other way, please, man. I may want to cut up for a second, right?
Right.
But they just watch us and they observe us and what we do, and ultimately what we do is what they end up doing, because we're creatures of nature, right? We learn through what we see.
Right. And so we are actually up against our first break. Like I said, this time goes by so quickly. So if you're just tuning in, you're listening to 90.1 FM, KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay, and we'll be back after this quick break.
Buy comes from Community Lending of America. Their Community Minute for February spotlights KC Prospect Business Association, whose mission is to build a healthy community and a more vibrant Kansas City. They work to develop and sustain minority-owned small businesses and micro-enterprises, which result in self-sustaining businesses, quality housing, and safer neighborhoods. Learn more about KC Prospect Business Association all this month at Community Lending of America's site, CLAKC.com.
I'm Loren.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
Attention Kansas voters, the League of Women Voters of Johnson County will present 4 legislative coffees in February in collaboration with local libraries. All coffees will be held Saturday morning starting at 10 a.m. Donuts and coffee provided. All community members, friends, and family are cordially invited to attend and submit questions to legislators. Check the events calendar at lwvjoco.org for locations and legislators attending each event. This message is a public service of KKFI and the League of Women Voters of Johnson County, Kansas.
Still not? No, it's not. It's not going on there. How is it? This part? Oh.
You got something that's going that might get us kicked off.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read it.
Yeah. Okay. and you're listening to 90.1 FM KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. That was All Right by Kendrick Lamar. And before we went to break, we were hearing from our guest, Loren Jones, just kind of talking about some of the things that on his journey being a young father. And Andrew, are you still there? I'm sorry. I know it's kind of a long break for you, but definitely want to get you back worked into the conversation. And so for someone, how would you explain the concept of mental blight for someone that you were just explaining this to for the first time? Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, and like you said, unfortunately, we see that play out in so many different variations in our community on a day-to-day basis. And so when we talk about trying to find a remedy for that sort of a mindset, or at least attempting to provide resources for those that may have that mindset, what has that looked like for you on your journey? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yes. And for those who are just tuning in, we are now about 30 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock, and you're listening to 90.1 FM KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. And this is our guest, Andrew Boykin, speaking and talking about his journey. And so, Loren, for you, because each of you have organizations, your organization, Lojo Speaks. Talk to us about what inspired you to start that organization.
So, along my path and everything of fatherhood, I just realized that there were a lot of fathers out there that didn't really know how to connect, right? We all live in our own silos and, we're busy taking care of family and things like that. And what I learned was that, fathers connecting with fathers sharpens everybody, and so, people would always ask me, hey man, do you do public speaking? Do you have your own thing? And I'm like, no. And so, it was just, Lojo was just a creative spin off of my name and then Speaks, so I just kind of put it together. And so, but again, it's so important for, coming from a single parent home, no father in the house, and now being a father of 5, it's just like, this fatherhood thing is hard.
Yes.
And so fathers need to connect. We need to share these experiences that we're having, not only just to get it off of our chest, but also to help other fathers, because you never know when somebody else might be like, man, I need some tidbits because my kids are over here cutting up, or, my methodology isn't working right now, so I need another way to see if I can reach my kids and get what I'm trying to get out of this, right? And so I just continue to be about all things fatherhood. I know in the breakfast this morning I talked about what makes you great, what's your superpower, and so that's what I feel like my superpower is. And so, I always want to share my gift, give to others, fill the other people's cups up as mine is being filled up, and so we just gonna keep doing this thing and keep, inspiring fathers, helping fathers with resources that they need, connecting with some people on a single fatherhood, because there are single fathers out there, believe it or not, and so trying to connect with them, make sure that they have the resources they need, because just being a single parent is hard, right? And, women have their nurturing piece that we don't always have, and so, it's really kind of tips, tools, and resources to just help us be better, because again, if we're better, that ripple effect just keeps going and going and going.
Right, and so, and I want to ask each of you this question, because oftentimes, when we talk about folks that have organizations or put together events like you guys did today, people think that, you must have all of this extra time in your day that the rest of us don't have. And so talk to us about how intentional you have to be in your behavior once you do decide that you're going to, engage in something like this, that you're going to start an organization. We'll start with you, Loren, and then I'll bring that question to you as well, Andrew.
Yeah, there's no dull moments in my life. I'm up early and I'm up late, and so, but you have to be intentional, right? Because the expectation is organizations start is that they're going to crumble and they're going to fall apart. That's just what people expect. And so, if you're not intentional, if you don't have a vision that you actually truly want to move forward with, don't get started, because this work is hard. It's challenging to, get people outside of their comfort zone, get them to open up and things like that. And so if you're not dedicated to it, like seriously, don't get started, because there's so much work that you do that you're not getting paid for. You don't get that time back, and so you're sacrificing time away from your family to help somebody else out, right? And you just have to hope that you create enough impact that the time away from what you would normally want to do matters. And so, and that's one of the things that I'm really even trying to expand, is just to continue to be more and more intentional. Because when we're intentional, we get outside of the things that we think that we should be doing and just focus on that superpower, that one thing that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt is going to have impact and help somebody, even if it's just one person.
Right.
That power of one. One is better than none. My grandma used to say, nothing from nothing is nothing. So one is something, and so that something matters.
Yes. And so same question for you, Andrew. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Mhm. Mhm. The restoration. Talk to us about the work that you do, and the impact that you feel like it has had in the with the in the time frame that you've been doing it. We understand that this is an ongoing process, and this is one of the great things I love about having these kinds of conversations is that we know this is not the ending, this is the beginning. And so, although I know you're still in the thick of it, what, as far as results, or what are some of the impacts that you've seen since you started your nonprofit? Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, that's definitely some homework for our audience. Look that up, Allodial. And we are actually up against our second break. Thank you, Brother Andrew. We are up against our second break. So if you're just tuning in, you are listening to 90.1 FM KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. This is Changing Narratives with Brother Jay and Brother Brown and two very special guests, Loren Jones and Andrew Boykin. And we'll be back after this quick break.
Rev up your support for KKFI. Got an old vehicle collecting dust?
Wow.
Turn it into a tax-deductible donation with Vehicles for Charity.
Yes.
Your unwanted car, boat, truck, or motorcycle can fuel your favorite KKFI programs. Go to kkfi.org and click Ways to Give to discover how your wheels can drive community radio
Come
forward.
back with us. Oh, shoot. Someday we'll all be free.
Someone you know is
Play a little
suffering
bit of
from
that.
thoughts
Okay.
of
Come
suicide.
back to the conversation.
You can
Cool.
dial the Suicide
So
Prevention
anything
Lifeline
you
at
wanna,
988
talk about, anything
or
that
go
you
to
want.
988lifeline.org.
And this is like, if we gonna focus on collective energy somewhere,
It would,
let's
yeah.
focus on literacy.
Right, right.
You know, let's focus on getting these
Yeah.
kids, you know. And you're listening to 90.1 FM KKFI, Kansas City Community Radio. That was Someday We'll All Be Free by Donny Hathaway, one of my favorites. And so before we went to break, Andrew, we were having this conversation, and one of the things that you mentioned in terms of planning 30 years out and for that next generation, one of the big problems I see, and this is just in my own personal observations, being in barbershops, is this generational disconnect a lot of times between Generation X and millennials, and it just seems to be a harshness that I know I didn't really experience as a young man. I don't remember the OGs like, man, look at y'all got pages and y'all terrible and y'all this and that. It just seems like we're a lot harsher on this next generation than I can remember. And so how do we go about, bridging that gap or closing that gap, if you will? Yes. Mhm. Right. Yes. And I know, like you said, there's a lot of unresolved pain that gets lashed out, and we take it out on those who we're closest to and who are coming behind us. But like I said, it's just like hearing it play out sometimes. It's maddening. And like you said, we have that responsibility. A lot of us forget what we were like in our 20s, and how much of our behaviors laid the foundation for what is going on right now. Just when we're talking about even music, everyone acts like all they listened to was Public Enemy and, Poor Righteous Teachers, and that was the only thing anybody was listening to. And it's like, no, we was listening to NWA and Luke and, all of the music that we claim now to hate, we fostered it. And so we have to take that responsibility and, like you said, apologize to these kids and explain what we were going through so they don't make those same sort of mistakes. But we do have to own it. Yes, absolutely. And so, man, this time it goes by so quickly. So I want to make sure from both of you, and we'll start with you, Loren, for someone that may want to get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing with Elevating Men and the work that you're doing, how would they get in touch with you?
Facebook, Instagram. You can find me as Lojo Speaks, LOJOSPEAKS, Lojo Speaks. And I'm a little bit different than everybody else because I don't own my phone. I pay for it, and so I always give out my number because I much rather you come directly to the source sometimes instead of trying to cut throughout a banner. So I'm gonna say it publicly right now. My phone number is 816-405-9988. Hey, call me, text me, whatever. If I don't answer, leave a voicemail. I promise I'm gonna call you back. Because if you actually took the time to take that step, then I gotta take the next one and meet you in the middle.
I appreciate that. And Andrew.
Yeah, I would not pass the message around.
You saying you want him to get all that traffic, huh? But no, definitely appreciate both you gentlemen, and since I had the opportunity to meet with you guys, just the positive energy, I think is so necessary, and also some very, very uncomfortable conversations that need to be had. And so I do want to make sure before we get out of here, just maybe one or two things that you guys could leave with our audience, and specifically for Black men who may be struggling with something, who may be looking for a way, or trying to find a way to communicate his angst, but just can't do that. What are one or two things that you guys could leave for them? And we'll start with you, Loren.
Give yourself grace. right? We are imperfect creatures. You're not designed to be perfect. We're not robots. And so give yourself grace. You know, if you fall off the wagon, hey, just get back on and start riding again. That would be one thing. I think the second thing I would say is, you know, find a therapy that works for you, right? For some people, you know, that's going to actually see a therapist, right? Therapy. Yeah, don't be afraid of it, you know. Or if not, you know, find a trusted person that you feel like you can open to just about anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a therapist. During our sessions that we have, we're not therapists. We're just guys that are willing to be vulnerable and talk about, you know, things that are going on in our life that aren't perfect, aren't great. And so find your place. And then for some people, that's, you know, boxing or something like that, or writing, anything. Just find that place of therapy, something that where you can just get it all out and really just kind of unload in some form or fashion, because it's important and it's necessary.
Absolutely. And for you, Andrew?
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Is that why they have to say that the things that are spoken upon on our broadcast?
The views and opinions. No, but I mean, it's
the bluntness is real though, and
Absolutely.
that's really where people like nobody wants to hear a watered down version. Like people want you to be upfront, man. So that's one of the things I love about AB, man. Is he ain't cutting no corners, man. He giving it to you. The way that we probably need to hear it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we are now about 7 minutes before the hour of 6 o'clock. Please stay tuned at the top of the hour for Roots Arise Reggae. I think we're going to have Lady D on the mix tonight. And so I want to encourage everyone, please stay tuned at the top of the hour for Roots Rise Reggae. But gentlemen, like I said, this is just the beginning of what I hope will be, you know, check-ins and ongoing conversation, and making sure that we get these meetings where it's standing room only of gentlemen, and we have to have breakout groups and things of that nature because we are, you know, healing folks in the community. So once again, I want to give out the information of how often Elevating Men meets and where folks can get in touch with each of you.
Yeah, so Elevating Men, we are on Facebook, so you can find us. Just type in Elevating Men. We will pop up right there. Every second Saturday of the month, starting at 8:30. We normally go to about 10:30, 11. Every second Saturday, we have a free men's breakfast. Free. It don't cost you a dime. All you got to do is spend the gas money to show up. We have breakfast. We have fellowship, and I promise you, this is a guarantee that you will leave with something that you can take back with you and actually apply it to your life. So definitely tap in with us. We also do a podcast. You can check us out on YouTube at Elevating Men. We got we probably have like 80 shows on there now.
Oh wow!
So you know, we got a lot of content up there, and you can definitely, you know, check it out a little bit at a time. But you know, we've talked about everything under the sun, and even have circled back to a couple of topics just because we wanted to go deeper. So definitely check us out, like, subscribe, and just stay tapped in for more, because more is coming for sure. We ain't stopping this train.
All right, and Andrew. All right.
Thank you for saying that. Since you told them to call me, I appreciate it.
I want to definitely thank both of you gentlemen for coming on today, having this conversation. Like I said, it is so important that we connect with one another. For those of you who have organizations that are putting in work, that are providing resources for our community. I want to encourage you all to connect. You never know how what you're working on may impact what someone else is doing across the street. And so just having these kinds of conversations and letting folks know that there are organizations and spaces like this available in our community is so important. So I want to thank you gentlemen once again for coming on and sharing your information.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us for sure. We appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So please stay tuned at the top of the hour for Roots Wise Reggae. Brother Jay, Brother Brown will be back next week with another program. And let's everybody in Kansas City will be celebrating this three-peat on our next show.
Yes,
so
sir. Yes, sir.
I'm putting it out there. I'm claiming it. So let's go.